I'm really excited about this conversation. Oh, we've got one person. Let's see. Reverend Dr. Janette Wilson, we're not going to start without you, so we're going to wait just a couple more minutes, and this will allow more people to log in because we know that we have audiences on our website, abc7chicago.com, as well as on our Facebook pages. And we know that a lot of people are really interested in this conversation because we're talking about property taxes. Now, off jump, that conversation may not strike you as something you want to just totally tune into because paying property taxes, Maria, I hate to say it because we got the treasurer on the line, paying property taxes, that's not something that people like, oh, let me tune in. I want to pay my property tax. I'm not excited about it, but we have to do it because we have to protect our homes. And you're going to explain more about your initiative. So let's get started. It looks like all of our participants are ready to go. So everyone, welcome to ABC7's Town Hall Series. My name is Samantha Chatman. I'm ABC7's morning consumer investigative reporter. And today we are joining you with Our Chicago, Voices of the Community. I'm happy to be your host for this week's Town Hall. And again, I don't know if you all were tuning in before we officially started, but today we're going to be talking about protecting homes, protecting property taxes, making sure people's property taxes are paid. And we've got several people on our line right now on Zoom to make sure that people in our community's homes are protected. Very important conversation that we're having today. So we are using this digital platform to bring awareness, as I mentioned, the importance of this program. And it's a program that Maria Pappas's office, our treasurer, actually started. It's called Black and Latino Houses Matter. It's an initiative and an innovative effort by the Cook County Treasurer's Office to bring tax relief to Chicago and Cook County homeowners who need it the most, helping to remove properties with delinquent taxes from the annual tax sale list. We're going to get into that list a little bit more later today, what that list means. A list with disproportionately hurts Black and Latino communities already impacted by health and financial issues because of the pandemic, of course. And we know that it's tragic when we talk about homeowners losing their home, but to think about a homeowner possibly losing their home because they owe $1,000, $800, $2,000, $500. In the grand scheme of things, we can fix that. We can address that. That's something that we want to correct because it's not out of the realm of possibility for people to pay that off. So we are speaking with Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas about how this program, Black and Latino Houses Matter, how this program is helping provide a path to receiving refunds for overpaid taxes and finding exemptions. We're going to be finding exemptions to families to help families save their homes. Now, getting a home off the tax sale list isn't necessarily the only hurdle. We know that there are a number of reasons why many people are unable to pay off their taxes, but we're here to make sure that people in our community are protected, our Black and Brown, Black and Latino communities are protected, and that we are saving their homes, making sure they know about possible exemptions and credits that they can receive in order to protect their homes. And we're going to get started. First of all, I have to mention, though, before we dive into this, we have a big phone bank next week, and Treasurer Pappas is going to tell us a lot more about it, but I'm so excited about it. I've got to tell you all, before we get into this discussion, we've got a big phone bank next week, a week from today. That's March 11th from 3 to 7 p.m. And we're going to be helping people either get off the tax sale list. We're going to be helping people with their exemptions, their senior freezes, their homeowner exemptions. We're going to be making sure that you know everything you need to know about your property taxes. Say you're a first-time homeowner and you really don't know much about your property taxes. You signed on the dotted line during closing and your broker told you X, Y, and Z, but it went over your head and you really don't know what you were signing and you don't know much about your property taxes. We're going to make sure you have that information. And the beauty of this phone bank is we're going to have people who speak several different languages so that everyone is assisted. But again, I don't want to steal you all's shine for the panelists because we're going to get into this more, but I had to talk about that. We're going to get into it more. So first, I would like to introduce you to Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas. Ms. Pappas has served the county since 1991 as commissioner until 1998 when she was elected treasurer. Now, as treasurer, she oversees the second largest property tax collection and distribution system in the United States. For those of you who don't know Maria, give them a wave, give them a yell, give them a shout.
All right, listen up, everybody. Okay, just sit back and drink your coffee because I'm going to start talking. I've got with me my Cook County Deputy Treasurer in the Hispanic community. That's Marco to my left on my Zoom. My dear friend representing the Mexican and Latino American community. I have with me Reverend Dr. Janette Wilson, a very close friend of mine, the right hand of my good
Rainbow
buddy,
Cook
Jesse
Coalition.
Jackson, right? And
Rainbow
I've
Cook
got with me
Coalition.
Munson Steed, who is very much interested, has his own agency, his own newspapers, and is very much interested in this as a financial oppression issue in the African American and Latino community. So let me tell you, I'm going to give you like great news, but you got to remember to tune in next Thursday, the 11th, between 3 and 7 p.m. because we are going to have a group of individuals who aren't going to do anything except take your phone calls. Why? Because it is WLS version of the lottery. We are sitting on $79 million worth of double payments and $48 million worth of exemptions. Let me explain that to you so that you can call. Samantha, do we have the number on
We
you?
do have the number. We have the number. We're going to give the number towards the end. But before we get into the number, Maria, I was going to let our panelists kind of give a brief description of what they do, who they're with, if that's all right, and then maybe get into the number.
And then we'll do the number, and then I'll tell you about what we're going to do for you so that you win some money next week.
Absolutely. Marco, why don't you take it away? Tell folks who you're with and all of the great things that you're doing in the Latino community.
How are you? Hi everybody. I'm representing the Mexican Civic Society, La Sociedad Cívica Mexicana, and I see how all the needs of the Mexican community or the Hispanic community about the taxes. And so I joined Maria Pappas, and she's been working so hard to give information, the correct information to the Hispanic community. So we've been working and going to churches, like in Cicero Town Hall and different places, and some of my places to do meetings to give information. But what I notice is some of the people, they are afraid to come to these meetings because some of the people, they've been asking me if they ask or we ask documentation, legal documentation. And I said, no, this is total difference. So I thank Maria Pappas for all this job that she's doing. She's working even in weekends because we've been having meetings and Sundays in church to give information to the people. So it's why I'm here working with her to help our community because some of the people, they are afraid to find out about legally documentation. So
he's been a great help to me. Let me just explain this to you. So I can go and I can talk to 100 different people in the Latino community, but because of this undocumented situation, they are not likely to come into my office because they're afraid. So what he's done is since March, he is the liaison that says, you don't have to be afraid of Maria Pappas. Now, I'm going to give you an astounding statistic. We had next to nothing in refunds and exemption applications in the Latino community. Since Marco got involved last March, in the Latino community alone, we have given out $24 million. They are able to come in online. Give information without feeling like someone is spying on them. And this is becoming a huge success. Why? Because in the Latino community, because of Marco, and he didn't tell you this, but he owns like all these banquet halls and all these restaurants where everybody goes to eat. I mean, to tell you the truth, he wanted to open a place in Water Tower where he sells pork and chicken by the pound. I was going to try and help him, but because of all these restaurants and all these banquet halls that he has, that has all these weddings and events, he tells everybody in the restaurant. He's got my brochures everywhere. So people are like, you know what? If Marco says Maria's okay, Maria's okay, to the tune of $24 million. So give it up for Marco, because he drags me to churches in Cicero on Sunday morning that I didn't even know existed. And you haven't lived until you go to a Cicero church, 2 different services on a Sunday morning, where you stand up on the pulpit, you talk about refunds and exemptions. It's amazing. And there's like 2,000 people there. And he's standing there.
Give a good shout out to Marco then. Marco, you're getting major props already, and we're not even 15 minutes in. Marco, thank you. Also, we'd like to introduce Reverend Dr. Janette Wilson. Reverend Dr. Janette Wilson, she's with Rainbow Push Coalition. Reverend Dr. Janette Wilson, please tell us more about your work with Rainbow Push and why you decided to get involved in this initiative, Black and Latino Houses Matter.
Well, I want to thank Maria Pappas, because she is the first treasurer ever to say it is not right for Black and brown people to lose property only because they didn't pay a property tax. They didn't even know they owed it. We had so many seniors who would call us and say, I didn't get my exemption, didn't know I was entitled to one. They didn't read the notices. And so when she came by and met with Reverend Jackson and I, Maria said, look, we got to stop this. She gave us the list of how many people were losing millions of dollars merely because they didn't know they had an exemption. Reverend Jackson did not know he had a senior exemption and had not taken advantage of it.
$4,000.
I didn't know I had an exemption. And so you start adding up the money, you add up the baby boomers who didn't take advantage of exemptions, or seniors sitting at home, not opening mail, not knowing. And so what she decided to do with us was put a staff person every week, 3 days a week. Then it started 1 day a week, then it escalated because of the demand was so great to 5 days a week. We had a staff person in our lobby where people could come in pre-COVID and give the property address and find out if they owed anything, if they had taken their exemptions. I mean, it's the way the government should work for the people. And so it's been a phenomenal success. She has been so committed to saving property. So many people have come to us prior to that, losing property merely because they didn't do the paperwork, not because some of them didn't even owe the money, but didn't know how to deal with it. And you got these scavengers picking up property in the Black and brown community based on the ignorance of the people that live there. So Maria she stepped beyond her office. Nobody else has ever done that. They just let people lose property, let the scavengers buy it up, and then you see these neighborhoods redeveloped and redesigned without us. So I really want to thank you. My job is, I have 2 jobs, I have many jobs, but senior advisor to Reverend Jackson, if that makes any sense, and then national executive director of Push for Excellence. And one of the things that housing is a major priority for us, equitable, open, and fair housing. Reverend started in Chicago around the issue of fair housing and protecting the people. And so Maria Pappas, who's known us ever since she decided to run and be elected, we have always worked together to protect the houses. She was literally running in a marathon when we met her. You don't know that side of her. So she has all this energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
If there's one thing we know about Treasurer Pappas is that she has lots of energy. So thank you so much.
Too much. Too much.
Too much? Is there a such thing as too much energy, Treasurer Pappas?
No. You got plenty of time to sleep after you die. Now listen to me.
Well,
we know you're not.
Ladies, before we get going, Munson Steed, we definitely have to mention Munson Steed, the CEO rolling out. Munson, thank you so much for joining us. Would love to know why you decided to join this initiative and why it's so important to you, why it's near and dear to your heart.
I want to say thanks first to Treasurer Pappas for having me and just for the community. But for us, we have a project paperwork. And we talked to this phenomenal treasurer about her commitment about wealth. This is a wealth gap issue. When a family loses its property that the mother or grandmother has already paid for $5,000, $1,000, this is an issue with wealth and disparity. And so for somebody to be empathetic, she reminds me of that moment that Kamala Harris was elected. She reminds me of the women like Stacey Abrams who know that the vote needs to be able to be given and protected. And so she's protecting with Black Lives and Black Houses Matter for both Hispanics and Blacks. This is a wealth gap issue. You're talking about people who have served our country, like veterans, who, if it hadn't been for her, would lose their homes. This, once again, is a national wealth gap issue. But as a woman leader, we need more Treasurer Pappas, because she is demonstrating the level of integrity that needs to happen for those who don't have an advocate. She is truly the advocate and giving individuals an opportunity by pausing the sale to be able to say to entire Chicago and the nation that there is a better way to serve as an elected official to those who may not know and will be taken advantage of. So we love her with our paperwork project. We want to make sure our community has the documentation and that everyone knows if you turn 65, you get some break. If you're a veteran, you get a break. If you're disabled, you get a break. And Treasurer Pappas has been loud. She's been vocal. She's been committed. And she will not stop. So I love it, and thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Steed. Really appreciate that. Now, Treasurer Pappas, I'm going to go to you because I have some key questions, because for people who are logging in, many of them have never heard of Black and Latino Houses Matter. So first of all, we've got to set the stage. Tell us, what is Black and Latino Houses Matter? How did you come up with this name? And if you are not Black or Latino, why is this something you should care about?
Okay, so in March, prior to March, I was stationed at Johnny Miller's church on the west side in Operation Push, pushing this in various places in the Hispanic community. But in March, when Black Lives Matter hit and COVID hit, I was like, oh, now what? And everybody called and said, you're going to come and march with me. I'm like, no, I'm not marching. I am going to, and I've got the facts and the figures to sink myself into something that's going to make a financial difference in both these communities. So in March, I started Black Houses Matter. I started this with a radio show with the help of Melody on WBON on Mondays. And I started pounding and saying every week, give me your address, give me your address. Now, we also have done over 300 Zooms, and we are telling everyone we know, get to cookcountytreasurer.com, because this has allowed us, this month alone, Samantha, if you can believe this, 1.1 million visits on cookcountytreasurer.com. Why would anybody come to that? The same reason that they're going to tune in to WLS next Thursday at 3 o'clock. We're going to give you the phone number in a little bit, but guess what? Once you get there, just in the African-American community, since March, we have given back $49 million. Why? And 24 million in the Hispanic community. Why? We direct people, or we help them in the event that they're disabled and can't get to a computer. We actually go out to your house. If you're going to call WLS and you can't figure out how to use your computer or how to get to my office, which you really don't have to do, we're going to give you a number to call and we'll come to you. We will come out to you. So if you've got a computer, an iPhone or an iPad, you go to cookcountytreasurer.com, and it's an amazing site. Why? It's up in 106 languages.
Now, Treasurer Pappas, you're talking about all of this money you're giving back, and people that they're listening now, but what is this money? Where did you get it from? What? Tell them about.
So you bought a house 15 years ago, and when you bought a house, you went to the closing. And I'm a lawyer, and closings are so complicated that, you know, you get these documents and you start signing and signing and signing. You forgot, Samantha, you forgot that at the closing, the bank said, we'll pay your first tax bill. So you get the tax bill, you're a first-time homeowner, you're like, oh my God, I got a tax bill, I'm gonna pay it. So if you go to my computer, it will tell you that 15 years ago, there were 2 payments from you, 2 payments, or you refinanced. This past summer, we had refinancings. We returned $51 million because both refinancing companies paid, and nobody knew it. Did you ever go to a closing or refinancing? That's like reading Chinese. You can't get it. I don't read Chinese. I can't read the financial statement, okay? Can't understand it at all. So what we've done is we've made this so simple. You can find out if you've overpaid going back 20 years, assuming you own the property. We're sitting on 79 million. Sometimes it's a divorce and the husband paid and the wife paid. Sometimes in my house, there was no divorce. The bill came in, I paid. My husband didn't know I paid, he paid. It was the first year I was a treasurer. I didn't want to make any mistakes, so I paid. And then he came up behind me and he paid. I got $5,000 back. I wouldn't have known it had I not known about cookcountytreasurer.com. So we are making it easy. You just get to Cook County Treasurer. You put in your address. You're going to know you're in the right place because you're going to see a picture of your house, your lot, or the vacant piece of property. Now, you're going to scroll down a little bit because if you haven't gotten a refund, if there's no double payment, let's see if there's something else for you. And this is a huge thing. It goes back 4 years, not 20 years. And so in our phone bank next week, you're going to call in, you're going to give us your address, and we're going to tell you if you've got 79 million in double payments or 48 million in unapplied for exemptions. Let me explain to you what an unapplied exemption for. So my daughter buys a house. She's a millennial out there, right? Totally out there, working every day, doesn't know what an exemption is, clueless, okay? For 4 years, she never applied. So I'm at her house one day and I'm looking at her tax bill. I'm like, hey, you never got your exemption. She's like, what's an exemption? She's not on the tax sale list. This is just a regular millennial. She and her husband are both working. They got a couple of kids, right? They're busy. I owed her $2,000 because she was a first-time homeowner who was entitled to 500, 500, 500, 500. Now, next door neighbor didn't pay. The next door neighbor owes me $2,000. Her next door neighbor is on my tax sale list. She owes me $2,000. So now this next door neighbor, who's a senior citizen, I put her address in my database. And you can do this for anybody. And incidentally, on our phone book next week, our phone bank next week, you don't have to call in just your address. You can call in your mother, your aunt, your uncle, your sister. You can call in anybody's address, okay, to find out if they've got money. We won't give it to you. We'll give it to them, but that's okay. So now this lady next door, she owes me $2,000. So we look her up and we find out that she's a senior citizen. She's over 65. She's never gotten a homeowner's exemption for 4 years. That's 4 times 500. That's $2,000. She's never gotten a senior citizen exemption. That's another 4 years at 500. That's another 2,000. Remember now, she owes me 2. I already owe her 4. And what else? This poor lady, her husband's dead. Okay. She used to work for the Board of Education. She's got a pension of 30 grand. Okay. She owes me 2. She's entitled by law with the state of Illinois to a senior citizen freeze. That means because she's making under $65,000 a year, she can freeze the assessment. That's worth at least another $500 a year for 4 years. Really? You want to know why Black houses and Latino houses matter? Here's a lady, and we have 36,000 properties on this list. 75% of them are either African American and or Latino. Really?
So Treasurer Pappas, just to piggyback on that, so people can visualize, here's a woman who could have lost her home, could have been put on that tax sale list because she owed your office $2,000, but little did she know
that I owed her
nearly $6,000, and she's about to lose her home based on that $2,000 when you owe her, and she wouldn't have known that without visiting your website, or in this case, for many people, calling from the phone bank tomorrow. I want to give that phone bank number because I understand that we have people on our Facebook page like, Samantha, give me that number right now. So I'm going to give it to them. It's 312-603-5105, and that's from 3 to 7 p.m. Munson, when you hear stories like this, first of all, why don't many of our people in Black and brown communities, Black and Latino communities, why don't they know about these exemptions?
Well, there are lots of reasons. One, it's just education. The other is age. When you think about a senior citizen, often they're trying to hold their own integrity. You know, if it wasn't for Treasurer Pappas, individuals like Reverend Jesse Jackson, who literally are committed to serving this community, your parents, your grandparents are living alone. They think everything that comes in the mail, nobody's opening their mail and explaining it to them anymore. You and I may not have gotten to that age, but it's a reality. So it's very easy for our community to stop asking, hey, Mom, did you get an exemption? The other thing, culturally, we literally are just beginning to focus on wealth. The house is the #1 next generation wealth creator in the entire community. And Treasurer Pappas is working to save that for Black and Hispanic Latinos in this Chicago market. So it's the #1 asset when it comes to wealth transference. So for us, culturally, we don't talk about wealth. Culturally, we don't talk about, did you get your exemptions? We need our faith leaders. Obviously, we got Reverend Jackson, but the entire faith leader community to reach out and say every Sunday, as long as this treasurer is staying that sale, that listen, everybody, go to your phone. She has 108 languages that she is working very diligently to make sure everyone at least checks on it. Culturally, it's a wake-up call for our community to know that there are many assets that we have that we could lose if we don't pay attention to the documentation and we didn't have an empathetic leader. I want to make sure we say how empathetic this is. There is no bonus for her.
And
Reverend
I think
Dr. Janette, you were saying something, Reverend Dr. Janette Wilson?
I think to Munson Steed's point, it's about education. And what Treasurer Pappas has done is she's contacted every stakeholder in the community, the clergy, the aldermen, all of the elected officials, and as many organizations that she could reach out and touch. And so I think at this point, it is our obligation. Anybody that's trying to help us preserve our richest asset, which is property. And as people of African descent, we have lost property across the years just by not knowing the rules, not understanding the transfer of property. We see scavengers in our neighborhood. We don't know how they got there. And no one really understands that sometimes it was just for non-payment and somebody purchased your property for taxes. You didn't know it until it was too late to redeem it. And so for the treasurer to say, look, I need you to wake up. I need you to respond to this right now and to push it out. We're committed to make sure that we contact all of the faith leaders within our network to push this call number out. And from now, since we're in Lent, a season of sacrifice and a season of service, we can get all of the clergy across this county to begin to push this information out to each of their parishioners, because everybody's on Zoom, everybody's remote, so it's a great time to catch everyone. I think this is the most important thing we can do. You've got seniors sitting at home, afraid to open a mailbox, not moving. They hear this is going to be a blessing to so many people. And everybody's broke, $500, $1,000. That can pay some bills for a lot of people, buy some medicine.
Absolutely, Reverend Dr. Wilson. And I want to go to Marco, because Marco, do you find that folks in the Latino and Latinx community, do you find that they have this kind of cultural barrier as well with the lack of education and just not knowing about home ownership and what comes with it?
Especially people from Mexico that, I mean, most of the people from Mexico comes from farmers, no education. And then when they get here to United States, they start working and they don't go to school or they just focus on working, and which is good. But many of them, they don't even know Chicago. They don't even know the Sears Towers or John Hank or places like that. So they are afraid. 25 years ago, someone who was working for me in one of these events that we did for Maria Pappas, I saw him afraid, and when he saw me, he called me Polito. He says, Polito, they asked him for documentation. I said, Pablito, his name is Pablo. I said, Pablito, no, this is me here. Why are you afraid? So I understand how our people, my people, Hispanic, are afraid. So how can they be? It's not easy for them to get in the computer because they don't even know how a computer works. So it's very important, and I really thank Maria Pappas for all this great job that she's doing, and it's amazing what she's doing because just to send people during the weekend, I mean, in the weekends and to church, like she says, and 8 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock in the midday, and give information to the people, they so happy. I mean, we still, I have lots of more dates, but with this problem that we do have, we cancel everything, but we're going to start working and helping people. Is for the Hispanic community, it's very, very hard to get information, I mean, to find information. So what she's doing is helping us, is helping the Hispanic community, and we want to keep working.
And Treasurer Pappas, I have a question for you as well. Thank you so much, Marco. I really appreciate your insight, especially just explaining why these payments aren't being made and the lack of education. Treasurer Pappas, talk about the consequences of not getting your property taxes paid. We talk about the tax sale list, but I'll be honest, you and I, we talked about this last year, and I really needed you to break it down. Tell me what this tax sale list is and what the consequences are if people at home, our seniors, are not paying their property taxes.
So every year by statute, after 12 months of the last payment of the previous year, if you don't pay, you go on to a list. So in March, our list was 58,000. We've been whittling it down. It's down to 38,000, but assume that tax sale were held tomorrow. These 38,000 homes, lots, or residences would go to bid, and somebody would buy that property for the amount of the taxes. So can I give you a little side example here? So I had the new speaker on today. I figured I would go to the mountain and talk to the gods. So I had Welch on today, and I shocked him, and he's going to work with me because I shocked him. I showed him that in his state rep area, the 7th district, he has 10 houses that owe under $200, 18 houses that owe under $300, 20 that owe under $500, and 40 that owe under $1,000. So that's not even $60,000 worth of taxes. And you're talking about losing almost 100 homes for $60,000. And he, just like Reverend Jackson, didn't know that I owed him money. He did not know. So he's going to get on it and he's going to help. But what would have happened to the lady whose house would have been sold for $200. Now she's a senior citizen and she gets a certified notice, a red and white certified notice from my office. She gets this notice. What does she think? She thinks it's a Christmas card. Garbage. Okay. The next lady gets one, $300, red and white notice, thinks it's a coupon in the couch. So they have no idea that this property has been sold for taxes. So now somebody knocks on the door a year later because they get a court order and they say, we tried to tell them and they didn't do anything about it. They knock on the door. They don't answer the door. So now they go back to the judge and the judge says, okay, the house is yours. So for a couple $100, a $75,000 or $100,000 home, it's gone to the tax buyer because these are the most vulnerable of citizens, the most vulnerable of citizens. Their kids are left, they're older, they're disabled, they're wheelchaired, they're walkered. So what happens to this person? Eventually, they realize that they can redeem. They've got 2 years to redeem, which means you go to get it back. Really? A $200 bill can turn out to be $2,000 or $3,000. Or a $1,000 bill can turn out to be $4,000 by the time you get done with costs and sheriffs and clerks and all the fees associated with it. So yeah, you can get it back, but it's going to cost you a fortune. So why are we intervening and what do? We go to this lady that owes $200. We are now knocking on her door. We are sending people out and we are knocking on her door. We can give you hundreds of examples of knocking on doors. 354 in the last 2 months where we knocked on the door, snow and all. And what happened? We got the person off the list because why? Do you really think that people in Chicago wake up in the morning and say, did I get an exemption? I had Serbian television on yesterday, and you know what? They have no idea what an exemption is because nobody in Serbia gets exemptions. Nobody in Chicago wakes up and says, did I get an exemption? They don't know what it is. They don't know what a homeowner's exemption is. They don't know what a senior exemption is. They don't know what a senior freeze exemption is. So they don't know that they're entitled to the money. And like it or not, this is an ethnic town. We have had 420,000 downloads in foreign languages because nobody gets what I'm talking about in English. Ask Marco. And if nobody gets it in English, how do you expect African Americans to get it in English when nobody's ever told them what an exemption is? So we are on a hunt. This phone bank next week is about redelivering this $130 million to people who don't know and risk losing a home and having to pay more money than they should to get it back. We are lucky, and we are lucky because WLS is all over this. This tax sale has been postponed indefinitely. And when I talked to Speaker Welch today, that's what was the big thing. I said, you have got to postpone the next tax sale and the next scavenger sale because the scavenger sale also is involved in this phone bank. What's the scavenger sale? If it doesn't sell after a year, it goes on another list, and then every 2 years that gets sold, and those scavenger pieces are up to 52,000, Samantha, 52,000 pieces over a 20-year period that are sitting in the city and the greater Chicagoland area. So exemptions, we need to educate. On our phone bank next week, we're going to have to flash up some screens and educate people about what exemptions are. And my team's going to do that. So in the background of the phone bank, we're going to have what a senior has to do to get an exemption, what a homeowner has to do to get an exemption, and what a senior freeze is for an exemption. We're going to flash it up in different languages. We will be ready for you in Spanish, English, Chinese, we're ready, and Polish. There are more landowners of Polish descent in Cook County than anyone else. More landowners of Polish descent in Cook County than anyone else. And they are in the same boat as the African American community because in Poland, there's no such thing as an exemption. In Serbia, there's no such thing as it. And the Greeks are the worst. All the Greeks call into WLS next week. Don't call me, call WLS, give us your address, and we will.
Phone bank. And I just want to pay off somebody's property taxes. Can I do that?
Yes, you can go in right now, and this is really interesting. You can go into Cook County Treasurer right now and pay online. You can go in and you can pay online. And what's really interesting, this is shocking because I just got the figures yesterday. Almost twice as many people paid online as went to Chase Bank. You know, it used to be, oh, everybody's going to Chase Bank. They want a receipt. They're going to go to Chase Bank. They don't want to go to Chase Bank. They don't want to leave the house. So what we've done is we have taken advantage of this right now, of the fact that nobody wants to leave their house. That's why you've got 1 million people coming to the site and people Zooming and people who are going to tune in to WLS next week.
And just for you all to know, WLS is ABC7 Chicago. We use both names, WLS ABC7 Chicago. Treasurer Pappas, as well as our esteemed panelists, we've got some people weighing in on Facebook Live. So I do want to take some of their questions. Actually, a comment from let's see, Maureen Hayes. She says, my dad never knew about the exemption until my brother's girlfriend told him. So that's just another example of how some people just do not know. There have been a couple of questions. People want to know, what about all homes? Do all homes not matter? That question has come up a couple of times. So Treasurer Pappas, do you want to kind of
I'll answer that. All homes matter, but when you have a disproportionate number of homes that are African American and Latino, and only 25% are in the other group, we tend to the 25% because more likely than not, they're seniors. But you have a disproportionate amount of homes that are in the African American and Latino community. You have a language problem and an education problem. So we work on it. We work on addressing it. Additionally, half of our 1.6 million parcels come in payment by mortgage companies. So what we've done is we've gone in the back door. We go to the mortgage company and we say, hey, Chase, hey, Bank of America, listen up. This is Maria Pappas. When you come in to pay on this property, you notify your homeowner who's got a mortgage with you that they have missed an exemption. They have missed an exemption. So we are always working with everyone. But if you look at the statistics and the bottom line on what ends up getting sold, it's mostly African American and mostly Latinos. So what are we doing? We're educating. We are out there educating. We are getting this van. We're taking the Pappas Mobile to the streets April 15th. It's got desks in it. We're knocking on doors of people who ignore mail, ignore phone calls, don't trust a phone call when they get it because they don't believe that this isn't some kind of a scam. So this is another problem that we face. People say, really? You're coming to me to give me money? This must be some kind of a scam. Why? Because there's a whole lot of people out there who get our database and they send letters. They send a letter to Munson. They send a letter to Janette. They send a letter to Marco. And you know what they say? Let me help you give you your money, get you your money. I want 40% of it. And they're terrified. They come to the office with these letters. Listen up. You don't need anybody to get this money for you. You can apply for this on your own and get it for yourself and or anyone you know, fellow parishioner, somebody on your block, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, any piece of property going back 20 years on a double payment and 4 years on any type of exemption. And we're going to go into disabled exemptions during the phone bank, which is, am I blind? Am I unable to walk? Did I come home from the Army or the Navy? Was I disabled when I got home? Okay. Did I just return and I can't pay? Is there an exemption for that? So there's all sorts of exemptions. They're all defined on cookcountytreasure.com. But you know what? Forget the 1 million people who came to the site. If 1 million people came, there's still 700,000 people who didn't come last month. And that's who we're looking for. The people who aren't using the website. And we think that they listen to Channel 7. That's why we're doing this phone bank. We think that the 700,000 people weren't running to my website are Channel 7 listeners who are at home. And what do? They listen to TV. They listen to what Samantha says. They don't know that Pappas exists. So we got a good marriage going here.
They know you exist. Trust me. Trust me. I want to get into a little bit more about your partners and what they're doing. You all are on the ground here. So how are you all supporting this initiative? Reverend Dr. Janette Wilson, I'll talk about you. Like I mentioned, you know, your boots on the ground, especially within the Black community. What are you doing to make sure that this initiative actually works in your communities?
Well, we're going to include it on our broadcast. You know, we're on every week on VON and on the Impact Network, which reaches a lot of churches. We're live on Facebook. And so we're going to take whatever promotional content we have, put it on all of our websites. We're going to convene a town hall meeting with pastors so that they can talk about it on Sunday. But we also want to push some links out. If we can get it tomorrow, Maria, we'll push it out through all of the churches. Everybody's Zooming and Facebooking live in congregations. We can push it out in our network this coming Sunday for the town
phone bank. Yeah, we just did a video yesterday. We'll get you the video about the phone bank and you can push it out. Yeah.
And we'll push it on all of our social media sites. And then we're going to have to do some robocalls. Example, in my church, we can do a robocall to all of the members. Other pastors can do that because they don't know the information either. So we got to push it out in a very massive way because our community is losing a lot of money and property, losing money and property for no good reason. So that's what we're going to do. Boots on the ground. We're going to Zoom them. We're going to, I got to meet with some pastors on Saturday. We're going to push it out. All of our mega churches as well, because they have people within the mega church that don't know they have money due or that their property is up for sale.
And Munson, tell me what your organization, what your company, what you all are doing to make sure that this initiative actually works.
You know, it's project paperwork. It is already validated and it works now. Treasurer Pappas clearly has the empathy to talk about the reduction of the wealth gap. When we think about this and rolling out, she's spoken at our conferences, virtual conferences. We're inviting over 20,000 individuals. We're going to push them to do it. We're also talking to influencers to let them know. We're actually out there creating short video for them so that we're out there meeting the individual who is blind, that Treasurer Pappas has actually spoken with, so that they can share their story. These stories have to become real. We are storytellers at Rolling Out. And we want this story that she is sharing with our community so that they can see it. If you don't know a blind person, if you really don't know a 101-year-old elderly woman, then we're going to introduce you so you can share that video and that this becomes something that'll be a social norm. You'll share and tell the story on why you should get your exemptions, why you should evaluate your paperwork, why you should ask any veteran returning should do it, and Rolling Out in our paperwork project are proud to partner. It is important that our influencers use their influence to educate, to elevate, and secure the wealth of our community with the help of Treasurer Pappas.
Thank you so much, Munson. And Marco, I'm going to toss it to you. Tell me, what are you and your organizations and your businesses, what are you all doing to make sure that people in the Latino community know about this initiative and that they don't end up losing their homes because of delinquent property taxes where they might have a credit and get money back?
Well, I've been working with a radio station, 1450 a.m. in the mornings from 6 to 9, and talking about this problem that we do have with the taxes. Some people call me, and some people have been calling to the phone of Maria Pappas, and I want to keep working with the Mexican organization or Hispanic organizations and about letting the people know that we're doing. And I have some of the churches ready to start working again with them and come to the churches and give some information. So I want to keep doing what we have been doing.
Thank you, Marco. Treasurer Pappas, how do you quantify success? Is that when you all are at number 0, no more exemptions, no more senior freezes, no more double payments? We don't got no more money, so that means we are successful. Is that how you quantify success? Believe you're on mute.
Success is when I wake up in the morning at 4:30 and I don't have anything to do. And I don't have enough hours in the day now, because this county of 5 million people, when you know that you're sitting on $136 million, the question is, how do you find them? And these people are not easily locatable because they are the most vulnerable of citizens. So success for me is every day I get a list. Every day I can tell you exactly how many people I was successful with. Every day I can tell you exactly how many. So I get a list. Like this morning I got a list. It tells me that since March 3rd in Berwyn, I gave back 2.3 million. In the city of Chicago, I have given back 18 million, okay? In Melrose Park, I've given back 1.4, okay? In Summit, 27 million, okay? And in overpayments in Bellwood, I gave back 1.6 million to 739 people. Calumet City, which is an African-American suburb, I gave back $1,250 to the tune of 3.4 million. Look at this. See this? Can you see that?
Yes.
Every day I get a list. And when the list isn't going up, you don't really want to work for me, do you? Huh? Would you want to work for me? Seriously? I wouldn't want to work for me. I mean, when this list isn't going up, I get my staff into the room and I'm like, why aren't you? I sent 2 guys out to a lady's house and they gave up because the door was snowed in. So now I sent another guy out. He was afraid to leave. He waited at that door, which was completely snowed in, and he waited there and he put the application in through the door. She had one leg. He waited, she slipped it back, and 2 days later we called her. She got to the phone. We owed her $3,400. And I want to tell you another good story. This is a lady that called into WVON. She called in. She was a senior citizen. She used to be a Chicago school teacher. She was an only child. She had an only child. She has an only grandchild. They're in New Orleans. We owed her $7,000. I said to her on the radio, what are you going to do with the $7,000? She said, I'm getting on an airplane and I'm going to New Orleans. She called the radio station last week. Samantha, get this. She has $6,000 left. Guess what she's going to do with it? She's gone to Africa on a safari.
Wow.
That's success. That's success. The success of this program is putting a smile on someone's face by putting money in their pocket. This is not about Pappas marching up and down Michigan Avenue. That ain't happening. We are well over $75 million since March that we've given back. While we were at push for a year, we gave back another 30 million. And we're still out there and we're still looking. And you know what? We're proud to be a partner with Channel 7. We're proud to be a partner with Channel 7 because I'm not stupid. I know that people are going to listen to Channel 7 before they listen to me. So thank your executives over there for putting this phone bank on. I think we're going to kill it next week. I think we're going to kill it.
The other thing I'd like to say is, though, a vacant home promotes crime. And by not putting that senior out, you will reduce crime in Chicago. And that is a real issue for everyone in it. Not only is the treasurer creating a much more safe neighborhood when she doesn't create vacant homes. This is an issue beyond just that for us at Rolling Out. We know and trust that she is making a difference. Reverend Wilson?
I was just going to say, to your point, she's saving lives. Can you imagine the number of seniors that would be evicted and placed in some nursing home or some facility when they could stay at home if they didn't lose the property? this is probably the most significant thing that any elected official could do is save property and thereby save lives, particularly seniors. I don't know what percentage of the people who have lost property or who are on her list that she gets every day that are seniors. They have no clue about this. So I want to thank WLS and Diana Palmore, and you got the best PR marketing strategist in the world with Munson Steed on this call, because he knows how to reach everybody, whether you're high or low, because everybody high and low has this issue with property taxes and don't know it. So I am really excited. Maria has inspired me to work a little harder.
So much. I want to give you all more information about the phone bank before we re-wrap, because we don't have a lot of time left, just a handful of minutes. So I'm going to give you more information on the phone bank. I'm on Facebook Live, and there are several people who, again, are saying, Samantha, oh, this is great. I want the number. So we got to give the people what they want. The phone bank number is 312-603-5105. And I'm going to try to type that into our Facebook Live feed just so that people can have that. It's next Thursday, a week from today, March 11th, and we actually extended the hours. Get that. So it's from 3 to 7 p.m. We're going to be reminding you all about this on the air. So if you didn't catch that, watch ABC7, because we know you all do anyway, but be sure to watch ABC7. We're going to have, I'm going to be putting together a story around the importance of Black and Latino Houses Matter. This is a really important initiative. Let's see, we've got 4 minutes. If you all can wrap, Treasurer Pappas, your final thoughts, and rather, I want each of you, again, we only have a few minutes, but tell everyone why you believe Black and Latino Houses Matter.
Look, this is the middle of a pandemic. This is the middle of, in our lifetime, the worst possible thing that could happen. So I'm going to tell you how to get through this. You get up and you do something for somebody. You get to this Channel 7 phone bank and you call in somebody's address, because if you do something for somebody, you will feel better. You will get out of your misery. You will get out of your depression. Use this phone bank to help the guy next door, your aunt, your uncle, your mother, your father. If you don't, you're going to be one of these miserable people sitting at home, depressed, drinking, overeating. Do something for somebody. Use this phone bank to make a difference in somebody else's life. So preach, Pappas.
All right. And Pappas is preaching, so we'll transition to Reverend Dr. Janette Wilson. If you have a few words.
Just to follow up on the preacher, we're doing tag team. I think 10 seniors ought to call 10 seniors. Every young person, call your grandparent, your aunt, your uncle, find out if they paid their property taxes. Everyone that's listening, call 10 people and tell 10 people to put their addresses in. Get your friends. You're sitting at home doing absolutely nothing. This is a great opportunity to be of service in this moment of Lent. It's a moment of sacrifice. Sacrifice your depression, your time, and call 10 people. Tell them to tune in, to call in, to make sure that we save the property in our communities.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Janette Wilson. We've got 2 minutes. Marco, your final thoughts on Black and Latino Houses Matter.
Thank you. I just want to invite the Hispanic community to follow the Channel 7 and watch you every day in the morning, 4 o'clock.
Thank you.
And I just want to let the Hispanic community, don't be afraid. Put attention and what Maria Pappas is doing, and call the senior citizen, find out who they are, and do something like Maria Pappas says. Do something for them, and keep going. And this matter is really working. And thank you, Maria Pappas. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Samantha. And I will keep watching you.
Well, thank you for watching, Marco. We appreciated you waking up with us. And Munson, we're going to close it out with you.
Thank you so much, Samantha. We appreciate you. But a big thanks to Treasurer Pappas. We want to make sure that everybody tunes in on Thursday, 3 to 7, and participates here on ABC7. We want to make sure that you understand that this is a change. You can secure the wealth of generations by participating in this program, saving a house, saving a senior, and saving your community. That's what this is about. That's what this effort is about. And this is a super person, a super sister with superpowers for good. And that's what Treasurer Pappas represents today.
Thank you all so much. This is such a powerful discussion. Treasurer Pappas, thank you for spearheading this and allowing us to partner with you. We're excited about the phone bank. We know a lot of people will be assisted and they will be helped, and we're going to protect homes. So next week, March 11th from 3 to 7, that's the phone bank date and time. We've got the number 312-603-5105. You'll hear about it more on our newscast. And again, my name is Samantha Chatman. I will see you tomorrow morning and every morning, Monday through Friday. I know you all are watching already, but I just have to remind you, we're excited about the phone bank and we're going to be talking about it more. I'll see you all in the morning, bright and early. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.